Well, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, or even good evening. This is Ron Wheeler. I'm excited to have you guys with me today for the Options Paycheck, the breakthrough system to generate safe monthly income in any market. Oh, it's not really a run on sentence, but it feels like it. And it's like a big, long breath that I got to do to get that out. So, welcome to everybody. Before we get started, I want to do a quick technology check, if you will. Do me a favor, if you can hear my voice, and if you see the screen that says Options Paycheck, do me a favor. Type in the chat window, yes, and then I also am kind of interested to see where you're dialing in from, if you will. I'm always curious to see where we're broadcasting to and where you guys are at and all that kind of stuff. Ah, look at that. I see already starting in there. Perfect. So that's good. Looks like it's sounding good. And then Gary, Tom, and Edwin. Gerald, you're from Toronto. Welcome. George in Sacramento. Welcome. Pittsburgh, Stephen. Stephen, I know you're probably not going to be happy, but I'm actually from just south of Cleveland. Terry, San Diego, Colorado. Gary, welcome. Cincinnati. Well, Cincinnati, fellow Ohioan there. New Hampshire, welcome. Bill. Belgium, Edwin, welcome to you. And Toronto, Canada from Han, and Peter from Melbourne, Australia. See, I told you that good morning sometimes is applicable. Roydell, Florida, welcome. Chip, VA, welcome to you. Vernon, British Columbia, welcome. Ron and Robert from Atlanta. Dinesh, welcome. William, are you kidding me? Are you putting me on, William? You and I are from the same town. I think I know you. I don't know you personally, but I think I know you. Stephen, that's okay. My daughter's in Hudson. I used to live right outside of Hudson in Streetsboro for a time. So, yes. And to William, that's actually where I live. So, we live in the same town. Bradford, Loomis, California, welcome to you. All right, hey. All right, well, we are townmates, if you will, because that is where I live. Edwin, Antwerp, welcome to you. See, Antwerp all the way out. Wow, ABQ, Debbie, welcome. Albuquerque and Eladio, welcome to you from Birmingham. Ah, you live in New Hampshire. Okay, good deal. And then Phil, welcome to you from Toronto as well. So it's good to have all of you here. And one of the reasons that I really like to ask you guys, if you can see and hear and get into the chat, there's really a couple of reasons. Number one, I do like to let you know that, hey, this is a live presentation. I can't kid you when I talk to you guys and I respond to your input. That's the first thing. But the second thing is I also want to make sure everything is working right. So it is time for us to get started because it is 4:30 Eastern Time. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everybody to today's webinar titled The Options Paycheck. In today's webinar, I'll be showing you the breakthrough system we developed here at VectorVest to generate safe monthly income in any market. The information I'm going to share with you has really changed my life and my trading, and I've seen it change the lives of so many people. So I hope you're excited about it as well. In fact, my promise to you today is simple. In this webinar, you're going to see how you can begin making a paycheck averaging $3,000 or more per month. Now, that figure is based on the fact that most of our clients are generating on average of 3% per month. That's using our most basic income strategy. Now, keep in mind, you can do this regardless of market direction with little to no prior experience in the market. It's safer than buying or selling stocks. And here's the key. You can do this and make income even if your analysis is wrong. Now, the information you learn today can have you really setting yourself up for a worry-free retirement, adding a nice second income stream to your life. It's a really good chance to learn these things. Now, I know that 3% per month. Now, remember, that 3% is based on however much you start with. 100,000, 3,000 a month, 50,000, 1,500. You get the idea. Now, I know that may sound too good to be true. The truth, however, is that a lot of our clients are doing even better than this. So in today's webinar, I'll show you the exact system I use to generate these types of trades, case studies and examples of our clients who are doing this month in and month out. I'll show you the system so that if you learn and follow our strategies, you can do the same. I'm also going to prove to you that our options paycheck system will get better returns safely. And remember, safer than trading stocks or options alone. Now, the webinar is built on results. Not just the results I've seen, but on the results of real people I've worked with. And I'm going to show you the system I taught them and the results my clients have achieved. Like Brian, turning $6,000 into $23,000 in 10 months. John growing his IRA by 112% in a year. Bob, who achieved a 71% return on investment in 4 months, and Mike, who's generating over $3,000 per month of income in his first 4 months following the system. And I'll show you how Bruce grew his account from $100,000 to $497,000 in 3.5 years. And I'll also introduce you to a number of our other client success stories. Now, here's an example of the type of the trade that we're talking about. This is Costco. Costco at the time had a great looking chart. Price was rising with rising earnings. Everything looked great. Now, if you bought the stock, it stalled for the next 2.5 weeks and only rose 1.4%. That's not so great. But with our options paycheck system, you don't have to be exactly right on direction. That same move, had you placed the trade I'll show you today, a 1.4% stock market move, resulted in a 16% gain in 12 calendar days. Like Frank, he learned the paycheck system that you'll learn today, and he posted in our private Facebook group that he made $955. Imagine having several of those trades on each month. Now, will there be losing trades? Sure. But the paycheck system averages over 70% winning trades, which results in a very consistent net income. And today, I'm going to show you the trade that does that. So, if that sounds good to you, now is a great time to turn off all your distractions, close your doors, turn off your cell phone, close down other windows on your computer. Don't multitask or you might miss something very important. Stay focused, give this your full attention because you're going to be learning something that can make a huge impact on the rest of your life. Now, I said earlier, my name is Ron Wheeler, and I'm the option income coach here at VectorVest. I've been trading now for 24 years, and when I first started, I mostly had losses. In fact, I blew out my first account and most of my second. And the reason I was losing was because I was trading in a way that required me to be right to make money. If I bought something, it had to go up. If I sold something, it had to go down. If I wasn't right, I'd lose money. Now, this is how most people trade or invest, and it's a zero-sum game. Not only do you have to be right to make money, that's the first part, you also have to control your losses and your profits to make it all work. It requires a perfect balance, if you will. And this is why most traders fail. And it's why it took me nearly 2 years to master it. And I had a huge advantage working with some of the best traders in the world. Over the course of the next decade, I taught traders around the world these concepts, and I had some success in training them. But a lot of them still couldn't turn the corner due to requiring that perfect balance of being right, but then also controlling their losses by not sticking with bad trades, taking profits when they were supposed to, not hoping that the stock goes up forever. It's a perfect balance to make money in this. An aha moment came to me when one of our clients, who happened to be a hedge fund manager, and he used the techniques that we had taught him for market analysis. He came to our office and he showed me the secrets to how these hedge fund guys and guys like him trade and make money. Now, long story short, he showed me the inside secret to using options so that even if I was wrong with my analysis, I could still make money. And how easy it was to control risk by taking trades where the exact amount of profits and losses are known up front. Now, think of the pressure that takes off you. You don't even have to be right to make money, and you control your risk right up front. Now, here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover the key strategic shift to generate income safely from the market, mainly by learning how to win even if you're wrong. You're going to see the real problem that's been holding you back from winning a lot more than you lose. We're going to talk about how to trade with little risk. You're going to learn how to avoid the big mistake that most people make and what you need to do to place those low-risk trades. In fact, the risk will be much lower than if you bought and sold stocks. And I'll show you the bulletproof system to use in as little as 15 minutes a day. And this is how myself and my clients trade to get that minimum of 3% per month in as little as 15 minutes a day. Now, over the last 10 years, I've really fine-tuned this paycheck system, and I made it so anyone can do it. Now, one last chance here. Does that sound okay to you? If it does, do me a favor, type a yes in the chat box for me. I just want to make sure we're all here still with us, everything, and making sure we're going. All right, good deal. Terry, you were first. And then I see Balu and Tom and Bill and Felix and Daryl and Fidelia and Sharon. Welcome. Mark and Chip and Bryce and Robert and Steven and Rajiv and Dinesh. All right, lots of people, Peter and Bill. All right, good deal. Let's just go ahead and start this puppy up. Why is this such an important topic? To understand why this is so important, I'll ask you a question. You don't have to answer this, but why do we work in the first place? If you surveyed 100 people and asked them why they go to work in the first place, you might get a bunch of responses. These altruistic responses, right? Contribution, it's a sense of achievement, it gives me purpose. I guarantee the overwhelming answer to this question would be for the paycheck. The paycheck enables us to live, hopefully well today, but then also put enough money away for the future so one day we won't have to go to work. Now, the hard truth is, without a system to help you generate the income you need, we're stuck trading our time, or lives in that matter, for money. In other words, without an income system, it's on you. And this creates a number of problems for us. If we aren't retired, it keeps us stuck in a situation where we have to work in order to live. What this means is we're trading our time, in other words, our lives, for money. Whether you've got a lot of money or no money at all, concerns about finances are one of the leading causes of stress. Worrying about whether we will have enough or if we'll run out of money can have an impact on our lives, our health, and even our relationships. In other words, we can't stop until we have enough. But we don't really know what enough is, so we keep working to get enough, like the hamster on the wheel. We're taught to work for some future event called retirement when we can finally stop working so hard and enjoy our lives. In my opinion, working to save enough for retirement on its own is not the best approach. Because if you're already retired, you might be watching your savings get depleted faster than you can fill it. And if things don't improve, you may fear you'll have to give up on investing and go back to work. Worst case scenario, you'll run out of money during retirement, or your standard of living will drop and you can't live the lifestyle you want. However, with a system to generate income, things are a lot different. And I believe this is probably the most important point of the webinar, so pay attention to this, write it down. In order to be financially free, our main need is income. Now, this is why most of us spend the majority of our lives working for a paycheck. However, in order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments to cover your expenses and needs. So let me say that again. I'll say it slower. In order to become financially free, all you need to do is learn to generate enough income from your investments that'll cover your expenses and lifestyle needs. Now, whether you're still working or retired, the ability to generate income from your investments is one of the most empowering skill sets you can have. Now, let me be clear. I'm not suggesting you take our course and then quit your day job. But when you have the ability to generate income from your investments, your life will definitely change. If you're still working, like I am, you can increase your earning capacity. It's like having a second job. If you're retired, you can have a consistent source of income as if you quit your job, but they kept paying you. It's like a tap you can turn on whenever you want. That allows you to do the things that you want to do now and when you retire. And that's why today's webinar is vitally important. When you've got a system to help you generate income, it can help you retire sooner. And when you're retired or you're working, our system can help you live a wealthier life without depleting your nest egg. And as I said, I believe this is one of the most important points of the presentation, so I'm going to say it again. When the income from our investments exceeds our living expenses, we become financially free or have the ability to retire. In my opinion, learning how to generate income is more important than how much we earn in our jobs. We talked about this. Why do we work? We work to generate income. When can we stop? When the income from our investments is enough for us to live. And you'd honestly be surprised at how little you need to get started. Example is Brian. He's a client of ours who is a great example of how you can become proficient at drawing an income from the market even if you don't want to invest a lot to begin with. Brian had some health problems and he needed a way to supplement his income. By using the options paycheck system, he was able to generate $23,000 in profit with just $6,000. He achieved 100% winning trades in 10 months. He had 31 of 31 winning trades using our basic system. Now, the key point here is this is not beginner's luck. It was the result of following the system. It's the system that helped Brian get 100% winning trades and create that $23,000 in profit, starting with only 6 grants in 10 months, safely. Now, the first thing that you need to know to take control of your returns is a bit of strategic mindset shift. You're either going to continue being the gambler where you lose more than you win, or you're going to become an option seller and win more than you lose. Now, being an option seller is the way that you can make consistent income each month, and it allows you to win even when you're wrong. Now, the reason that you want to be the casino or the house is that the house always wins, number one. And number two, the house always wins because it controls and stacks probability in its favor. Now, the option paycheck system is built around you stacking the odds massively in your favor. So make a note of this. In order to control your returns and results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. The house always wins because it stacks the probability overwhelmingly in its favor. So the obvious question is, well, how do we do it? The first step is the shift from being the buyer of options to being the seller. So let me explain. Bruce is a great example of shifting from gambling on stocks to being the casino and controlling and stacking probability in his favor. Now, prior to working with us, he had mainly taken stock tips from his brokers. So Bruce focused on our S&P 500 income system, which is our most basic trading system, as he's not the most technical person in the world. But in the time he's been working with us, he's grown his trading account from 100 grand to 497,000 in 3.5 years. He's achieving a 74% win percentage simply by following the rules of the option paycheck system. And the whole system takes him around 15 minutes a day. So let me show you how this works. Here's an example of a typical trade you've been taught to make. You find a stock you like, you think it'll go up, so you either buy shares of it or you buy a call. Now, why do you buy a call option? Well, mainly it's because what you learned starting options, right? That was the starting options trade. You buy a call. It's what you were taught to do. But what ends up happening a lot of times, either the stock doesn't go up or it doesn't go up enough and the call you just bought ends up expiring worthless. Is that something for those of you that have traded options ever happened to you? Certainly has to me. Well, what's the problem that's causing you to lose? Most people feel the problem is maybe they picked the wrong stock. Perhaps in the option world, they picked the wrong strike or the wrong expiration. But let's talk about the real problem. If you've been losing money or had more losers than winners with other systems, it's not your fault. That's because most of the systems on the planet teach you to be on the wrong side of the trade. You're simply taught to buy an option. But as a buyer, the probabilities are not on your side. And for most people, they end up buying and losing, buying and losing, buying and losing. Our options paycheck system teaches you a new way of thinking. You need to be a seller and not a buyer. That's how you get ahead of everybody else. That's how you put probability on your side. That's how you win even if you're wrong. So let's take a closer look at selling options. Now, as a buyer, a typical trade gives you a 50-50 chance to be a winner, right? Because when you buy something, the only way you make money is if the stock moves in your direction. Now, I'm going to show you, instead of having a buyer's mentality, I want you to have a seller's mentality. Instead of hoping a stock goes up, get my laser pointer out here, this is where the stock's at right now. Instead of hoping the stock goes up, you're going to strategically pick a price, and this is a bullish market. You're going to strategically pick a price underneath the stock where it's not likely to go using an options probability. So now, instead of needing the stock to only go up, it can now go up and you make money, sideways and you make money. It can even come down, and if it stays above a certain point, you can still make money. So right from the very beginning, you have now stacked probability in your favor. And you can even increase that probability more. You can simply choose a lower price, which gives you an even bigger area where you can be right. Now, we do a lot of our trades, then they start off with a 70% chance of success. And the only way you can do this is as an option seller. Think about that. Here's where the stock is. I've now created this entire green spot. As long as the stock stays in there, I can now make money. As a seller, you're putting the probability of success in your favor, and that to me is the definition of an income trade. An income trade is one where you can make money even if you are wrong on direction. Now, Mike was somebody who dabbled with options, but he said he lost on each trade. Have you ever been there? Can you imagine how frustrating that must be to lose on all of your trades? Eventually, he gave up. Now, later on, he came back and said, you know what? I'm going to master this. Mike's an engineer, so he wanted to learn more about it. He learned more, but he was still uncomfortable because he had no set criteria to place his trades. So we worked together, Mike and I taught him the Paycheck system of being an option seller. He said he became like an income machine. After he learned the system, he immediately went out and said he had 17 out of 19 winning trades with a profit of over $12,000 in 4 months. The key lesson here is going from buyer or gambler or the house to being that seller, right? We're going from buyer to the casino, the house. That's what turns your situation around. He even gave me a copy of his trades that he had took at the time. Okay? Take a look at the number of winners versus losers. And if you want, take a look at the average days to close the trade. Those are, by the way, in calendar days. It seems about every 7 to 10 days, he's bringing in about $1,000 in profit. And our most basic system, which trades just the S&P 500, it's averaged over 85% winners. You're placing trades that have a high probability of winning. And again, think about it like this. You are no longer the gambler. You are now the house where all of the rules and probability are stacked in your favor. To use a baseball analogy, we're not looking for home runs. I know in the news right now, GameStop is all over the place, right? Oh my God, GameStop, GameStop, GameStop. GameStop is a home run. And unfortunately, most of the people that are buying this, these Robinhood type investors, the vast majority are going to lose money on this. They just will because they're not trained to do this properly. The home run trade, it's sexy on paper. It looks good. 3 months from now, I can create an ad that said, look at how we can make 6,000% on GameStop. And now 90% of those people are broke. Singles are how we create income. I don't hit home runs. I'm like that 370 hitting shortstop that hits 40 doubles, 15 triples, and gets on base a ton. That is income trading. It may not be sexy, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that makes money consistently year after year after year. And that's what you can do as well. Now, so you've simply seen by flipping the script from buyer to seller, you can stack the odds significantly in your favor. Now we're going to stack the odds even further by understanding and capitalizing on the 3 most common buyers or gamblers' mistakes. So mistake number 1 is that buyers choose unrealistic strikes. They choose strikes that are so far away the stock has absolutely no chance in hitting it. Here's the stock. Now let's say somebody was bullish on the stock. A lot of mistakes that buyers make is they buy calls with strikes way up here. They buy these options because they're cheap. The stock has little chance of going up to that target. Buyers treat options like lottery tickets, and most of the time, they end up losing. But since there's always going to be those buyers out there who buy these options, and I don't care why they're buying them, you might as well be the one who sells it to them. You're selling an option that has a very low probability of getting hit. And since it has a low probability of getting hit, that means you have a high probability of winning. And the same goes for puts. There are people who will buy puts way down here, maybe as the lottery ticket approach or cheap insurance for their stocks. It doesn't matter why they're doing it, why they're buying those puts. The fact is there will always be buyers out there who are buying those options. Since there's always going to be those buyers out there, we're going to be the one who sells it to them, because selling those options gives you that 60 to 90% probability of success. Now, the second mistake that buyers make is they choose expiration dates that are too close to the current date. It's like going to the grocery store and seeing a piece of steak on the discount rack. Yes, it's cheap, but it's going to be worthless unless you cook it that day. And the same is true for options. I want you to see what happens to the price of an option in relation to the number of days till expiration. Over 180 days. It took, right where my laser pointer is, 135 days for that option to lose half of its value. But notice in the last 45 days, the price really drops off. The decay becomes exponential. Now, a lot of buyers buy options with less than 45 days until expiration. And why? Because, again, they're cheap. There's little time left, so the premium's really low. It's like buying a lottery ticket. By doing that, you're now stacking probability against you. So what we are going to do is target those options less than 45 days away from expiration to sell. We are going to be an option seller of options less than 45 days to expiration. Now, take a look at this graph of Home Depot. Let's assume that I'm bullish from where my laser pointer is. Most people, they end up buying an expiration maybe 3 weeks away. Maybe it's a month and 2 weeks away. But even when you buy those options and you buy them right, you're fighting time decay. Notice how the value of the options drops off just because it's getting closer to expiration. That's terrible for you as an option buyer. But if you're the seller, that works in your favor. Remember this, there's always going to be people out there buying those options that have those expiration dates too close. We're going to be the one who sells it to them. They're the gamblers. We're the house. We are the ones that win in the end. Now, the third mistake that buyers make is they simply pay too much. They buy what's called overpriced options. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's two stocks. I want you to notice both are around the same price, 76 bucks. But even though the two stocks have similar price, the option premium are way off. One is $9, one's $1.80. Why do they have such different options prices? The option on the left had very high volatility, leading to that option being what we call overpriced. Now, buyers who buy these options are paying too much. Well, what's the big deal, right? It's only money. I can afford a $9 option. Well, I want you to watch what happens. Both stocks were simulating going up $8 a share. They go from $76 to $84, right? $8 in profits. Let's see what happens to the value of your option. The overpriced option on the left actually lost money, even though the stock went up. I want you to think about that. The option buyer actually got direction right and still lost. Why? Because the person who bought options of stock number one didn't pay attention to volatility. They paid way too much. By the way, GameStop is like this right now. Volatility is at like 700%, right? It's not as sexy as you think it is in the options world. Now, instead of buying these options, we're going to find those high volatility options and we're going to be sellers. Now, think about that for a minute. As an option seller, again, you can even be wrong on direction and still make money. When we do these overpriced options, these are what gives us a limited risk, by the way, and a really good return on our investment. You're stacking probability even more on your side by looking at these overpriced expensive options. Now, Bob has one of the most interesting stories I've seen. He said prior to working with us, he was making a bunch of the mistakes that we talk about here, and it cost him dearly. In fact, he ended up either broke or bankrupt 3 times, and in his own words, came close to living under a bridge. Now, the Paycheck system helped Bob turn the situation around in as little as 4 months. He learned to turn these mistake liabilities into strategies to control and stack probability in his favor. In 4 months, Bob grew his account by 71% and achieved a 79% winning trade percentage. Now remember, in order to control your returns and the results, you need to know how to control and stack probability in your favor. So let me ask you guys a question. This is where I want you to open up your chat boxes and give me an answer here. Have any of you ever made one of those or more of those buyer's mistakes? Now, if you've never traded options before, you can say, hey, Ron, never traded options before. But here's the cool part. You don't have to make these mistakes now because now you know to start looking out for them. That's the beauty of it. All right. I see lots and lots of yeses. Yep. Felix and Bill and Bryce and Terry and David and Balu said never traded options. That's good. Joe regularly. Let's hope we stop that. Sharon, of course. Yep. Yes, I'm a dope. No, Tom, you're not a dope. You just weren't taught a good system. You just weren't taught a good system. Robert, with paper money, that's the best way to learn, with paper money, right? Mark, new to options. Now, for those of you that are new to options, you're learning what not to do as an option buyer, and that's a good thing. Now, listen, everybody who has traded options has done this before, okay? Even I have done it. It's not our fault. We were just not taught properly, or if we were taught a broken system. Now that you know you want to be an option seller, let's look at how to trade with very little risk. Now, when a lot of people hear the word options, and especially the term selling options, they think it's very risky. However, the options paycheck system uses a very low-risk strategy for selling options, and this is why it's a core strategy we teach all retirees. Now, why is reducing risk so important? Every time I tell people about selling options, this is the disclaimer I hear. Ron, I've done this before, and I had one bad trade wipe out all my winners. I hear that a lot. Again, if that's happened to you, it's not your fault mostly. It's you were taught not how to do this properly. Okay? If you're using the paycheck system, this will never happen. Okay? This is part of being a good option seller. We would never take a trade that one bad one would wipe out a bunch of winners. Why won't we do it? Because it's very hard to recover losses. It takes a long time. So the first thing we do is we have a built-in protection plan. We're going to take care of risk management before you even open the trade. That's going to allow you to preserve your capital. And if you preserve your capital, you'll be able to grow your capital. Now, one of the most common questions I get asked is, can I trade options from my IRA? Well, John does. As a client of ours, he grew his account over 112% in 1 year using our options paycheck system. John tried and struggled with trading for some time before working with us. He said he learned to follow the system and turned his inconsistent results into predictable monthly income. In 12 months, he enjoyed 85% winning trades and more than doubled the size of his IRA while spending no more than 15 minutes per day trading. These are clients telling me this. It's not me. This is results of people that have actually done this. Now again, the paycheck system makes sure you reduce your risk before you even open the trade. First, we choose stocks that are low risk. We have a very specific criteria, but in general, if we're bullish, we start by focusing on good stocks that are already rising in price, similar to the graph you see here. Then, instead of selling an option naked, we sell it with protection. So let me show you how to do that. Traditional option selling systems leave you with all of this risk. That's unacceptable. The options paycheck system shrinks your risk to this. Let's look at how this works. And by the way, this is how one bad trade wipes out a bunch of winners. This is how it doesn't. Okay? This is a beautiful graph, a typical stock we'd be bullish on. Traditionally, people would buy the stock here. They may even buy a call and use it as the strike price. Good choice. But remember, you're not the buyer anymore. You're the seller. You're going to do this. In a bullish market, we are going to sell a put below the stock price. Now, when you sell a put, you're going to receive a premium. You're getting paid. In this example, you get $200 per option contract. 10 contracts would be $2,000, and that's great, right? But you have no downside protection. If the stock drops, you're in serious trouble. Yes, you could have made $2,000, but you might have just lost $10,000. What you need to do to protect yourself is using a built-in protection plan. You're going to buy a put down here, and that's going to reduce your risk to this. Okay? Now, your protection plan costs something, like all insurance policies do. To buy that protection, you're going to use some, but not all of the money you receive from selling the put. In this example, the insurance cost me $100, but that's okay because you received $200 from selling the put. That leaves you with what we call a net credit of $100. You get paid to place the trade. There's technically no money out of your pocket. Your account will get credited that $100. Now, if you did 10 contracts, you just received a credit of $1,000. Again, you get paid to place these high probability trades. Now, what has that done? We're bullish on this stock. If the stock goes up, we make money. Okay? As the stock goes up, the option that you sold loses value. Eventually, we exit the trade and make money. If the stock goes sideways, that time decay I showed you earlier pays us profits. And as long as it stays above that pink line, we can still make money. And for those of you that are concerned about what do we do if it goes against us, you see that pink line right there at 135? That's where you exit the trade. We don't keep these things for maximum losses. We get out of the trade if it hits our short strike. So let's do this. I want to use a few examples of trades that I actually did with my clients to help you better understand how they set them up. So pay attention and listen up. I'm going to show you some numbers now, so you'll definitely need to be paying attention. All right, let me explain this real quick. I want to draw a line on here. This is a trade I took on Shopify. It was back from 2019, by the way. I know Shopify is more expensive now. I traded a lot last year, too. This is a great stock, and it's in an uptrend, right? So I think it's going to go up, all right? Now, this is where the stock is at right now. I want you to get into a seller's mentality. You think the stock's going to go up. What price underneath the stock are you comfortable saying it won't drop to? Now, keep in mind, let's say I chose this price right here. That's going to have a very little risk with lower probability. As I start moving the price down even more, that right there is going to have even more monetary risk, but your probability goes up. If I chose a strike way down here, the risk on that trade gets bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? But probability goes up. If it's easy to say, Ron, we'll just pick a price way down here. But the problem is, this is that trade down here where you might make $100 on, but you're going to risk $4,000 to make it, okay? I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to risk a $4,000 to make 100. I personally like to risk maybe $500 to make $500. So keep that in mind. Now, I want you guys to get into the seller's mentality. Where are you comfortable picking a price on this stock? You think it's going to go up, but I know it can stay above, right? What do you guys think? What do you think? All right, 260, Sharon says. 285, Bill. Terry, 7% below the current price. I kind of get an idea of what you're thinking of right there. 280, Gary, 295, Robert, 265, Mark, 280, Hanan, SH, 278. So it seems like a lot of you guys are in this area right here of 275 to 280, 290, 280. So a couple more right in this area right here. Now, here's the deal. We don't choose these strikes by throwing darts at a board. We choose them by probability. It's not really my goal to make sure you know exactly what strike to pick right now. It's really more about to get you into the seller's mentality. Saying, yes, I think the stock is going to go up, but as long as it stays above here, I make money. Or here, I make money. You know, that's really the idea. Okay? So, let me show you where I actually did this trade. All right? I took this trade at 290, 280. This was a stock at the time that was about $310 a share. I gave myself, my mouse is going bonkers here. Must have a hair stuck in the laser beam or something. This is where I did the trade ultimately. Okay? And I took in $1,680 in premium. So I ended up making $840 in 10 days. The stock kind of went sideways and then it popped up. All right? Now, the way this trade works is I sold the trade, or I entered the trade for $2.80, and then on June 19th, I exited the trade for $1.40. When I got into the trade, I was paid $280. When I exited the trade, I paid $140. The $140 it was in my pocket. I made $140 times 6 contracts, or $840. Okay, and that took 9 days, 10 calendar days, I think, but 9 actual trading days. All right. We walked away from $840 in profits. Now you might ask, well, how much money would I have to do to take this trade? Well, it's like a $50,000 account would be required based on our risk profile. Well, Ron, I don't have $50,000. Well, if you have $25,000, take 3 contracts. If you have 10, take 1 or 2. It can scale. All right, I'm not going to go into as deep explanation on this one. This is ServiceNow. Where do you think? We think the stock's going to go up, right? Where do you think, or where are you comfortable saying, all right, it's not going to drop down to here? Seller's mentality. What are you guys thinking? Seller's mentality. Okay? Sorry, my mouse is going a little bonkers. Oh, look at that. Fidelia, Gary, or Phil, Gary, Mark. You guys are all at 275. Bill at 275. Edwin 275. 265. Terry 265. Joe 275. 275. Andrew, Tokan 240. Han 270. All right, so a lot of you guys are in that 270 range. Okay, now I kind of see where you're going with. You're probably thinking right underneath that support. And I like what you're thinking. I actually did that trade based at 260. All right, I was able to go all the way down to 260. Think about that. That's a $25 range to be wrong. And I took in $200 per contract. I did 7 contracts, $1,400. And again, in 10 days, right, I took in a 12.5% return. I got into the trade on July 1st, right at 313. I sold the trade for $2. When I exited the trade on July 10th, I paid $1. This is what you got to think in your mind, right? This is not buying. I don't buy and then sell. When I sell the trade, I collect money. When I exit the trade, I have to pay money. So I collected $200 when I entered, and I exited and I paid $100. I kept $100 times 7 contracts. Okay? All right. Now, this is what I'm going to flip the script on you guys a little bit. This is QSR. Now, at the time of QSR, our market timing gauge turned bearish. And my thinking was that this stock was going to go down. I want you to get into the seller's mentality. Now that the stock is going to go down, we have to look at this thing and pick a price above, saying, all right, I think it's going to go down, but based on probability and based on what I think, where's it going to stay below? So flip the script. Where do you guys feel in the seller's mentality? The stock's at $77. Where do you feel it won't go up to take us out of the trade? All right, 85 Bill, 79 Felix, 85 I see, 81, Gary's at 80, Tom 85, Gerald 84, 82. All right, now here's the cool thing. None of these answers are wrong. The only thing I'm trying to get you guys to do is understand the seller's mentality. I know the stock's going to go down, but I've now created this buffer right here. So if I go down, I win. If I go sideways, I win. And if it goes up to here, I win. So you guys, it's all fine. 85, 85, perfect. Okay? Now, 80 Edwin. Here's where I actually did this trade. I did this trade at $80. So I was all the way down here. I had about a $3, $4 buffer to be wrong. I took in $900 when I did this trade. All right? You can see it right here. When I entered the trade, I got paid 75 cents times 12 contracts. That's $75 times 12. When I exited the trade, I paid 40 cents to exit that trade. Okay? The stock only dropped 3%. It did it in one day. I got into that trade on September 3rd at 12:26. I exited the trade the very next morning at 9:42. Okay? Now again, the purpose of that was to get you into the understanding of selling mentality. Now another client I worked with is Jim. Prior to working with me, he told me his results were inconsistent and he felt very unsatisfied. He kept thinking there's got to be something more out there. Something had to be better. You ever feel that way? That you're missing something? There's got to be something better out there? He said he wanted a way to supplement what he was doing and would provide more regular income and had a higher probability of success. Now, after learning the system of being an option seller, he told me that he had 21 winners in a row and returned 76% in about 8 months. He said his average trade lasted only 8 calendar days. That's typical. Can you imagine how that must feel from being inconsistent to where all your trades are generating income? Now, I want you guys to think. That was Jim. What about you? If you were able to do what Jim did, how would that improve your life? What would you be able to do if you could produce that level of income? Think about it. Write it in the chat window. What could you do? What would that allow you to do to create that secondary income source like this? Okay? Quit my other job, Felix says. Retire earlier. Travel. Exactly, Token. Felix. Yeah, post CV19, travel more, Mark. New house, Kathy. More investments. Robert, fire my boss. I love it. Tom, college for my grandson. I love it. Gary, pay off debt and retire. More freedom to enjoy life. Bill. That's right. I'm only going to read a couple of them because I want to keep going, but think of what Jim's results could do for you. Now, we said before that buying is gambling and selling is about controlling risk and putting the odds of success in your favor. That's how we generate income. The Paycheck system makes sure you have a guaranteed maximum risk. It all goes back to whether you'd rather be the gambler or the casino. Remember, the house wins in the end. Probability stacked in their favor. Being an option seller is the way to consistent income. All right, now let's put this together, and I want to show you how you can have that bulletproof system in as little as 15 minutes a day. And again, this is what I say, but also my clients say. And this is important because one of the biggest things that people ask us is, how much time is it going to take me? Well, it's a good question. And here's the challenge. There's thousands of stocks out there. You got to find a way to pick the right stock with the right strategy, when to get in, the expiration, the price, what to do if it goes against you, when do you get out with profits. And that leaves people thinking that it's like a needle in a haystack. They can't find these trades easily. There's so much information you have to filter out. They don't know where to look. You spend countless hours researching trades, go from guru to guru. That leads you to trading blindly. You don't know what to do. You're like a mouse running through a maze, bumping into wall after wall. It can be very disheartening and stressful. With the right system, you can identify good trades, get reliable income in as little as 15 minutes a day. And to get that, you need a system. Not just any system. A straight line system. A simple way to know when to place your trades, how to find them, how to set them up, and how to manage them. So let me walk you through the pieces of the Paycheck system and in the order they go in. Now, no one else teaches option selling in this way. It's kind of like the secret sauce. There's 6 pieces, and the top 5 build on each other, and then the 6th ties them all together. We start at the top with market direction. Now, a lot of traders ignore this, and they just go out and place trades. You're going to be placing trades in conjunction with the overall market's direction. Okay? In a bullish market, we place bullish stock trades. Bearish market, we place bearish stock trades, etc. The Paycheck system uses a built-in timing signal to give us overall direction. Once we establish that, we choose stocks that are moving in that direction. Okay? Not just the stocks that you know of or listening to the gurus. We want to find good stocks in uptrends when the market's rising, bad stocks that are in downtrends when the market's falling. Now, our Paycheck system saves time in 2 ways. We use fundamentals and price trend of a graph to find our stocks. Now, I have pre-built searches in VectorVest, which I use instead of digging through data that the institutions throw at you. Now, we get to the option part. Once you have the list of stocks, you want to find a way to select the best ones for option trading. Earlier, we looked at volatility. We want to find high volatility options. They're expensive. They give us good premium, but we don't stop there. To take even more risk out, I filter out those with upcoming earnings events. I trade in the proper expiration of less than 45 days. That puts time decay in my corner to give me that expiration sweet spot. Now, you can use tools from a broker to help you. We use a proprietary search tool which fields these option candidates in a matter of seconds. Now we set up the trade. We pick the one based on probability. All options have a probability built into them. So we pick the strike that gives us the best probability of winning combined with the proper risk to reward ratio. Last year, just to give you guys an example, my average winning trade was about $750 and my average loser was about $800 at an over 70% success rate. I can do that because I know how to set the trades up properly. I'm not losing $3,000 on all of my losers. When you have a system that does this for you, you put probability in your favor and you make that risk reward work for you. Before we place the trade, we need to know what to do if the trade goes for you or against you. No more sitting in a trade and feeling frozen like a deer in the headlights because you don't know what to do. Our Paycheck system has rules to take profits at predetermined levels. If a trade goes against you, I have an adjustment strategy that you can use to minimize your losses, and we know when to exit trades with wins or losses. And then finally, this is the thing that kind of ties it all together. You want a way to do it quickly. You don't want to be spending all day. So you need a tool that allows you to do these things. It should be something you're comfortable with. Some brokers have great tools. Thinkorswim, Interactive Brokers, E-Trade. They have really great tools at doing this with you. Some might find paid tools to be effective. I use our tool from VectorVest called Options Pro, which is built for this, and it saves me a lot of time. Speaking of time, earlier we talked about Mike and Jim, and each one of them is getting the results in about 15 minutes a day, and so is Hugh. He told me one of his biggest struggles was finding a system that was efficient and worked. He didn't have that proper balance between trading and free time. He didn't have that work-life balance. Are you like that? Do you spend too much time doing things that you don't want to do and not enough time doing the things you want to? Now that Hugh learned the system, he said he has more confidence, more free time, and he's able to have more fun. He said in his first 43 trades, he had 38 winners and returned over $26,000 in 4 months. So let's do this. I want you guys to take your pen. I want you to put a little star next to the part of your system where you're good. For example, if you have a quick way to find a list of stocks that are likely to go in the direction of the market, put a star there. If you're to see an area where you're not working well or you need to put a little work, put an X there. For example, if you don't know how to manage or repair a trade, that's an X. Now, don't overthink it. I want you to take about 10 seconds and give yourself a star or a frown or an X. Give yourself a grade. And it gave me a chance to have a nice sip of my cold brew. Now, I'm willing to bet maybe 1 in 100 investors will ever know how to do this. So share with me again. Type in the chat, what areas do you need to work on? What kind of areas, for those of you that have traded options, where do you need to work on your system? All right, couple people out there, money management. Oh, Felix, you said all. David, you're one of the money management, trade management folks. The bottom 4, Robert. Williams selecting. Bill, you said you haven't traded options yet. By the way, for those of you who have never traded options before, I like working with you guys because I feel like I can get you started properly so you don't make mistakes. All David, Robert. Not be greedy. Sharon, I know you. I still know that. Yep. Trade management, Sharon of the, so you're saying there's a chance. Tom, option selection, Joe, 3456. James, trade adjustments. Finding stocks with high volatility, James. All right, so good. The whole thing is here is to do this successfully, you got to get to where you have stars all the way down. Once you do, you'll be able to generate income every month and do that in that 15 minutes a day. So listen, I can't guess the reason that you came to today's webinar, but I'm going to make a few guesses. I don't know the exact reason. Maybe you don't know what to do and you feel like you've been trading blindly. You're bumping into one wall into the next. It leaves you with inconsistent results. Just like Jim did before he learned the Paycheck system. Maybe you've been suffering through loss after loss and those small losses are killing your portfolio. Maybe the money coming in isn't exceeding the money going out. Maybe you're just not where you want to be. Now today I showed you the secret to fix it all. A secret that I bet 1 in 100 investors will ever know. And now you're one of them. You saw it's possible to win even if you're wrong. Learned how to do it with very little risk, even less risk than buying and selling stocks. You saw the system to get consistent income every month. And I just showed you a few of the many people who use this system every day so they never have to worry about retirement or income again. Now you saw over and over the secret to generating consistent income is to shift from being the gambler to being the casino. You're going to be that one investor out of 100 who knows that secret. That means there's 99 other investors out there who will continue to do things wrong. They'll be buying options and making all of the mistakes we talked about. You can't stop them from doing it. There will always be those investors out there who buy options incorrectly. Hey, let them be the gamblers, right? We're going to be the house. The house wins in the end. The paycheck system teaches you how to stack probability of success in your favor. Just like Brian, like Bruce, and like Bob, and Jim, and Hugh. In 12 months, remember John, 112% in his IRA? Like John. So if you're like most people, you're wondering, how do I implement the paycheck system in my portfolio? Well, you have a choice. Do it alone. You can try to learn how the option trades work, try to figure out the direction of the market, analyze the stocks, find the best ones, set the trade up right. Listen, if you're willing to work hard, spend hours in front of your computer, learn by trial and error, you might be able to pull it off. Well, there is an easier way. Let me show you how to do it. I'll walk you through each piece of the paycheck system, and in just a few weeks, you'll have that simple system to follow. That doesn't really take a lot of time. So of those three options, ask yourself, what will be easier for you? You know, there's two types of people. Person number one is someone who dreams about their financial goals, but they never actually do anything to make it happen. The second person is somebody that's serious about their financial future. You're ready to take action when you see a good opportunity in front of you. Now, since you're dedicated enough to be with me to this point, I'm willing to bet you're number two. That makes you the perfect candidate to get started on your first paycheck. So let me tell you what I put together for you to do this. First and foremost is our options paycheck course. It's a complete A to Z system. I'm not kidding. I give you step-by-step instructions on everything. No ambiguity. Hard, fast, set, written out rules to do this. Okay? Those clients that I showed you earlier, this is what they do to generate that income. And it's taking them less than an hour a week. Now, we'll start by building a strong option foundation. That way you know what calls and puts are, and you know how to use them in your trades. Modules 2 and 3, I'm going to show you our three primary systems for bullish, bearish, and neutral markets that have a 70% or better success rate. In Module 4, I'm going to show you how to find the stocks. Market timing. I'm going to show you how to go out there and find the right stocks for this. And I'll also introduce the idea of index trading, the S&P 500. Module 5, it's all about the maximization. We'll talk about volatility and how that plays a role in your trade. We'll talk about making sure that you're getting the price correctly. We'll start putting the foundation in for risk and reward. In Module 6, no more deer in the headlights. I'll show you what to do when you get in the trade. I'll teach you how many contracts to trade, how to allocate your portfolio, where to exit with profits, where to exit with a loss, how to adjust and trade and do repairs if you want to. And then finally in Module 7, it's all about the broker. Now, I can't teach you how to use every single broker out there, but I'm going to show you the key things to how to place these trades properly with some of your brokers. Okay? I said earlier that I have a checklist presented to you. Guess what? I have a checklist that tells you every single step. You can just go right down the list and figure this all out. When someone's first starting out, it's comforting to have that security blanket. Now, before we talk about the price of the course, which in my opinion is really low, let me make it low risk for you, even more. We have a 100% money back guarantee. Okay? You can go through the course. If you're not satisfied that we taught you how to use options properly to have income, I'll give you your money back. But you got to do the work. Okay? We know if you do, you will see the results. Now, when I say you got to do the work, that means you got to take the class. Okay? You can't just say, Ron, it's been a week, 2 weeks, now I haven't really done anything and now I want a refund. It doesn't work that way. All right? We know who watches the classes and who doesn't. The reason I have a tight refund policy is because I only want to attract those who are incredibly excited to jump in and do the work. okay, to get results. Serious investors. So I have to put a limitation on it, right? Because I don't want to be Costco. I don't want to be the company that allows you to buy a Christmas tree and then take it back after Christmas. So I don't want to think it's ridiculous here. But listen, if you come, you do the work, you show me that you've done it, you're not happy, you get your money back. Simple as that. That's how you can generate that 3% monthly income by doing the course. That's 36% per year. It doesn't take a lot of time to do every week. Now, a few months ago, I actually received an email from a client who took the course. This is from Joe. Ron, I'm writing to thank you for the Options Paycheck course. I took your class last fall and wanted you to know my results for the last 10 months. I keep a journal to document every trade. So far, I've profited on 239 out of the 350 trades that I've taken, a 68% winning rate. Profited over $100,000 in that time. What's more exciting is that since my knowledge and experience have grown in regards to taking really good risk-reward trades, I've profited over $50,000 in the last 6 weeks. My success rate has been 78% over the last 100 trades. I only take trades with a 2-to-1 or better risk-reward. Thank you again for teaching this simple but effective system. He wrote to me on that on October 15th. Basically, last year was one of his best years ever. Think about that. 2020 was a crazy year. Joe hit a home run. Now let me ask you a question. If I told Joe I would trade him $2,000 for 100, do you think he'd take that trade? I'll give him 100 and he only has to give me 2. It's a pretty good trade. Okay? I'm going to make you guys a better offer. Now before I tell you more about it, I want to point something out. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not something where you should expect to become a millionaire in the next 24 hours. It's a serious, it requires effort on your part. If you can't commit to it, then don't do it. It's not for you. It's for serious people who take their investing seriously and are willing to put in the time and work to learn. So if you're serious about this and ready to do the work and get results, the Options Paycheck course is perfect for you. You're going to get the entire course delivered live to you each week. If you can't make our live presentations, we also have it recorded for you, which you can watch the recordings. Okay? That has a value of $19.90. Remember I told you I would trade you 100 for 2? Well, there you have it. All right? Now, I'm also going to include a couple of bonuses. If you're worried that trying to find stock trades are too much for you, I'm going to teach you how to narrow this down into trading one trade, the S&P 500. One ticker symbol, one setup rule, one profit rule, one stop criteria. Simple and easy to do. So simple that my teammate Brian, he actually taught this to his 14-year-old daughter at the time, and she was able to do the trades. For many of my students, this is the only thing they use. And it can generate 3% a month on its own. In addition to the course, I'm going to give you 7 live mastery sessions. Every week we'll be there to help you implement each session. So for our first module, we have a mastery session. We're going to make sure you're implementing and understanding the process. If you can't make these live sessions, it's no big deal. Submit your questions, watch the recording. Everything is given to you as a recording. So even if you can't make live sessions, you still take advantage of all of it. We have a private Facebook community. Now, I know that not everybody's a Facebook fan. You can count me as one of those people. You can come to this anonymously. We have a Facebook community. It's nice because you can get together with all the other people that are taking the course at the same time, and you can work with each other. Yeah, it gives you access to me, my team. I also do a monthly Q&A session for a year to make sure you're still implementing this. Now, here I think is one of the biggest bonuses here. I do a weekly group coaching. Okay, with people that are implementing these trades. You're going to get access to 7 weeks of my group coaching. Now, I've been running group coaching for 2 years. In 2019, we did 53% return. In 2020, I did 64% return using these types of trades. I go in there every Monday and I work with my coaching students and we find and implement trades based on the Paycheck system. Okay? I'm also going to give you access to the software that we use, Options Pro and VectorVest. These software packages are not mandatory, but they are nice for speed and efficiency. I'll give you time to use these during the course. I'm also going to be teaching the course using these softwares. However, I also give you instruction on certain broker platforms too to help you find, select, and manage the trades. But we use these 2 software packages for speed and efficiency. I'm going to give these to you for the 7 weeks of the live course. Now, for those of you that are new to options, if you want to brush up on the basics, hit the ground running, I'm also going to include an options foundation course. For those, again, those of you that are new, it's just a good way to go in there, learn what a call is, learn what a put is, learn some of the basics of options. That way, if you're new, you can hit the ground running. One of my former students and current coaching clients, he said, "Hey, Ron, tell it to the people and say, no matter what your experience with options are, tell them to do that options foundation course. It's a good way to brush up on their knowledge." So that's up to you. In fact, we had a couple of our prior students take that foundation course before the paycheck started. Shun said he made his first 7 option trades in his life and had 5 winners and 2 losers. Bobby said he was even more excited for the course. He made a real money trade with the SPX and paid for half the course fee already. Now, just to summarize what our offer is, you're going to get the options paycheck course delivered live and via recording week to week, the SPX paycheck, those mastery support sessions that help you week by week implement each lesson, my weekly coaching and trade group, VectorVest and Options Pro, the Facebook group with the 12 months of Q&A, our Options Foundation course. So if you add all that up, it's about $1,600. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my sleeves up, work with a couple hundred people who are serious about generating income. If you're one of them, we're going to create an income system in your portfolio, even if you've never had success with options. Okay? Now, you've spent about an hour with me today. If you want to join me and have me take you by the hand and help you install this in your portfolio, then instead of that $6,000, the course is $995. You can go to www.optionspaycheck.com. In the upper right-hand corner, click register, and you can sign up for it right now. Okay? Now, I'm going to throw you one more bonus. If you order before our webinar closes today, all right, I said you spent about an hour with me today. I want to pay you for your time. If you order before the end of our webinar tonight, I'll knock off $100. I'll pay you $100 for your hour of time. You can sign up for $895. That's the lowest price that you can take this course as a new attendee. Okay? Even lower than our VectorVest Elite prices. That's the full course, that entire offer I gave you for $895. Optionspaycheck.com, click on register and get signed up for it. Now ask yourself, what will it cost you not to do this? How much money will you lose out by learning by trial and error? How much profit are you going to miss out on? How much time and energy do you have to spend doing it on your own? And ask yourself, hey, if I implement it and it works like the guys I showed you today, how will that affect your life? You know, they say that the best time to plant an oak tree is 20 years ago to enjoy the shade now. The second best time is now. It's not too late to get started. It's never too late. I have a lot of retirees in this system and a lot of retirees that do this. It's never too late to start creating income. I have a lot of young people that do this, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds. It's never too late, okay? This is going to be one of those deciding days in your life. Are you going to take action, set yourself up for a secure retirement and income, or will it be the day you look back and say, dang, I squandered a great opportunity to create income? Okay? Don't regret the decision. I really don't miss the opportunity because I look forward to helping you install this into your portfolio. Now again, go to www.optionspaycheck.com and get yourself registered before it closes. That $895 is only available while we're live on the webinar. We still have a Q&A if you want to attend to that. That's lower than our elite pricing. So if you've never taken the course before and you want the lowest price, now is the time. After the webinar is over, it goes to $995. So don't wait or you'll miss out. Optionspaycheck.com, upper right-hand corner, click register and get signed up. Now, do me a favor. If you're signed up for the course, give me a shout out in the chat window and say, hey, Ron, I'm in. You can leave out the hey, Ron part and just say I'm in. That's fine too. I'll give you a couple minutes to get started. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in my colleague, Brian. Brian's the one that taught his 14-year-old daughter how to do this. She's older now, but she was 14 at the time. I'm going to bring Brian in. He was one of the guys kind of in the background. We're going to do a Q&A session. Brian is also going to kind of tell you what happens next after you sign up. Brian, are you there?
I am here, Ron. Nice.
Good deal.
Great information.
Sounds good. So this is the live course modules. Now remember, I'm going to say probably 40 to 50% of the people that sign up for the options paycheck course, they don't actually come to the live courses because we're never going to have a live course time that works with everybody, right? But this is the live. Now again, if you can't make it to the live sessions, don't worry, we've got you covered. I've got recordings out there and everything. You'll be able to go through this week by week with us without ever seeing a live event. But if you can do the live event, it starts next Thursday, February 4th at 4:30 Eastern Time. So week number 1, module 1 is Thursday the 4th. Then you see that we shifted Tuesdays for the remainder of the 6 modules after that. So Tuesday at 4:30 from the 9th through the 16th, Tuesday for all of the rest of the modules. Now that is the live course modules where we teach the module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, the live mastery session, the first one is on Monday, February 8th at noon Eastern Time. And then for the remainder of the course, we shift to Friday at noon for the 12th, the 19th, the 26th, and into March 5th, 12th, and the 19th. Can't believe that we're already, it's just like it was New Year's right now, and that we're already just talking about March. But that is the live course curriculum right there.
Beautiful. Or want to go through it again with you. So if there are, if it's been over a year, and the reason why we do this, one of the reasons is you have access to the material. Did you SH wanted to know about how long are each of the sessions?
Okay, good question. Each of the sessions are about 60 to 90 minutes. I always tell people that, if they want to know how much time they need to put aside each week, put aside 3 to 4 hours. That way, you have time to watch the sessions. And again, the sessions are 60 to 90 minutes. But then we also give you assignments too. The assignments don't take very long. It's just enough to get you implementing what we teach you on a week to week basis. So if you put aside 3 to 4 hours a week, that's going to be plenty of time to watch those 60 to 90-minute sessions and then have some time to maybe watch a walkthrough video of your assignment and really do the tasks each week. Now, there's not going to be homework that you have to turn in or anything crazy like that, but we do ask you to do stuff each week. That way, you're going into your broker software, understanding where things are, or using Options Pro and VectorVest, understanding where things are that we use. So when it's all said and done, figure about 3 4 hours a week.
Raminder says, "Hey Ron, I'm in."
Welcome.
Edwin said, "I'm in." Glenn says, "I just registered." And I'll touch on the second part of what you said, Glenn, in just a second. Peter says I'm in. Um, Joe says I'm not quite in because I have to basically call in to get my refresher rate. So yes, Joe, that's right. Um,
Close enough.
Close enough. And Daryl says not sure if I'm in or not. So Daryl, if you do have a question, please let us know while we're here live, and we can answer you. Okay. So the second part of your question there, Glenn, brings up a good point. If you are in, when you go to our university, which is where you would log in to access your course, if you are already logged in, you'll we actually ask you have to sign out and then sign back in. It kind of refreshes your access. So just in the upper right hand corner where you see your name in the university, click on that, click on sign out, and then sign back in, and you should see the course. Okay. All right. So uh, next up, so I'm waiting on Daryl. Gary says I'm in. Awesome. Looking through the rest of the things. But remember that Options Foundation course is available. It's great for all of you who are brand new to options. Go through that and then the full course. So that kind of brings up one of the questions I think I saw way earlier in the session, because you had a couple of people saying that they're new to options. Do you honestly feel like somebody who's brand new to options could be successful with this, even though it's teaching about spreads?
Yes, absolutely. I really do. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know. I'm going to give you a step by step guide. I'm going to give you rules. I'm going to no abstract ideas that you're going to have to think about. You're going to get hard set rules of what to do. So if you're new, this is actually a good foundation for options. And then, hey, if you want to expand on it later on and do a lot more exotic things, you certainly can. But this is a good course for a beginner because it's rule based. It tells you exactly what to do, filters out the noise of all of the option stuff that you really don't need to know to make a living. And like Brian, I mean, you taught it to your daughter. She took out her little notebook, wrote the rules down, and did it. As long as you're willing to follow a step by step process, you're good to go. I don't care how much experience you've had before.
Yeah, I still have her spiral. She gave me her spiral bound notebook because I wanted to see her notes. So it's here in my drawer. I got to dig it out. I think it had a lion on it, but yeah, she gave me it's a spiral bound notebook. We sat down. I gave her the rules. I basically just said, do this, do this, do this, and she looked at the screen. She saw what I was talking about. She wrote it down, and then she had to do it on her own. So if she's able to do it, I'm pretty confident you'll be able to do it. All right, Ron, can this be done? Like some people are retired and they like to trade in maybe like a Roth or something. Can this be done in a retirement account?
That's a great question, and I will tell you this. Most of the IRAs that I have been associated with, I've seen, do allow this type of trading. But I've also have seen a handful, a few select ones where they didn't let you do this. Most of them require a phone call. You have to kind of sign up for another level of options trading, but most of them can. Now, if you plan on doing this in your IRA, I would encourage you to call your IRA holder first and ask them, hey, can I do credit spreads? Can I do vertical credit spreads in this account? Double check first. Most of the IRAs I'm familiar with can, but then there's a couple of them that I've also heard that cannot.
All right, James says, now that I'm in, what's my next step beside reading the material online? Would you clarify the date and time for the live classes? All right, so next step is to check your email to see if you've received our email, because we're going to be communicating with you a lot through email, so it's important to make sure that you get our emails. It's advised that if you find our email, mark VectorVest as a safe sender. If it's in your junk folder, drag it to your inbox. Create a folder for it, like give VectorVest its own special folder, something like that, James, so that they all go to your inbox. And then other than that, in that email, like you said, in addition to going through the material, we recommend if you want to join the Facebook group, do that. Like, get that out of the way so you can get in there and start talking to people. That'd be one thing for you to do. And clarifying the dates and times. The first live session that Ron will hold will be next Thursday at this exact same time. All right, so next Thursday, the same time you joined this session, and then the first mastery session will be the week after that. It'll be Monday, actually, of the week after that. All right. So well, I'm going to give King a reminder. If you do have a question and I missed it, okay, in the chat box, I'm going to give you a chance right now. I'm going to put a little flag on my screen here, right next to Balu, who says I'm signed up, and right next to David, who said I'm in. I'm going to put it right next to that. Uh, if you have a question, now is your chance. Like, we're only going to be live here for the next few minutes. So if you have a question about the course, type it in and let us know. Otherwise, we're going to start our wrap-up process. Okay? Ron, Brian, who signed up for the course, by the way, I believe Brian said he thought today was the first session, but he just wanted to know, what exactly are those mastery sessions for?
Good question. So every week when we do the live module, or if you're not doing the live module and you watch the recording of the module, at the end we basically give you an assignment, right? Some work to carry on. Now, what that mastery session is, it's really a chance for us to go through the assignment and then also take questions about the actual module. Hey, Ron, you did the module on Tuesday. Now it's Friday. I thought of this question as I'm trying to implement this with my broker, or I'm trying to look for this, or I'm trying to figure out what this means. It's just basically an extra Q&A session that's going to help us implement week to week the course itself.
All right, and Brian was also wondering about the size of his account. He's trying to see, is it worth it? And he's like, my account size is like 12,000.
Mm-hmm.
If I make 3% a month, that's about $360. And he's thinking about maybe subscribing to VectorVest as well. And he's like, is it worth it? And I'm just doing some quick math in my head. Then I'll turn it over to you, Ron. I'm like, well, that's $360 a month. That's let's see, 3,600 plus 700. That's what, 4,500 ish. Maybe 4,300 per year, and then it's definitely worth it if I'm doing my math correctly. But Ron, what would you say if somebody is wondering about the size of their account and is this worth it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I really do. Even with 12, even with 5,000, because I kind of think of I kind of look back at my trading, right? When I was 20 years old. Yeah, 20 years old. I opened up my first trading account with $5,000. Now here I am, like 24 years later, right? And I have a lot more money to trade. But the cool thing was I learned the basics on a small amount of money. Listen, if I'd have traded $5,000 over 20 years and still got 36% return on that and it compounded year after year after year, that little money becomes a lot of money. So yeah, I think that even if you're starting small, it's definitely worth learning a system, because as that grows, it just becomes more and more and more, which is beautiful.
All right, Tom just let us know. He said I'm in. Welcome to Tom. And let's see, Catherine. Let's see. We get that question every once in a while, Karen. Is if you're a subscriber to VectorVest, then you're a subscriber to VectorVest. Right? You're not going to get like 2 months of free subscription to VectorVest. And let me explain why. And I just want to be upfront and honest with you, Catherine, and anybody else who's a VectorVest member. Um, the idea is when you first started with VectorVest, however long ago that was, most likely when you first started with us, you had some sort of a trial. Like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Catherine, maybe you had like a $9.95 trial for 5 weeks. Right now, I think we still have like a 99-cent trial for 5 weeks, or 30 days, something like that. And the idea is, we've got some people here who are seeing VectorVest for the first time, and instead of asking them to buy a course and then
I'm looking forward to teaching it to you. Seriously, I am. I'm not joking. I love this. Is like, I don't know, every time we do a paycheck course, it's kind of like my Super Bowl because I really love doing this. I really love teaching this stuff because it gets such good results. So it's kind of fun for me too. It's kind of exciting to see people as they learn it and start implementing it. So I love it.
All right, last two that we'll cover for today is from Glenn. He's like, will the videos that are there be replaced with the new ones? And I can grab that one. The course module videos will not be replaced because Ron recorded those and made them nice, clean copies for you. So those will not be replaced. The things that get replaced with the current version recordings would be we give you a copy of the Q&A session after the live session. So currently, if you log into the course, you will hear the Q&A from the last time we ran the course, but those will get replaced with yours. And the other ones that get replaced would be the mastery sessions. So again, currently if you log in, you'll hear the mastery sessions from the last time we did it, but those will get replaced each week with your versions. All right, cool. Glenn says great. Earl says, which VectorVest services would I need to subscribe to in order to do this course? Ron's going to teach you how to do spreads, even if you choose to use your broker afterwards. We're going to give you access to VectorVest. We think it's the best tool out there to make things faster and better and smarter and easier. But there's some people who go on and just use their broker to do certain things. But Ron's going to teach you how to do spreads. It's a step-by-step system. He will show you how to use VectorVest if you want to go that route.
Which, if you go that route, I would say intraday VectorVest would be the best route. Well, not the real time would be the best, but intraday works well too.
Oh, and Nancy, this will be the last question. If I get access to VectorVest when I purchase here, basically when will everything get turned on? We say by the first day of class, which is I believe that's February 4th, next Thursday. It could be a day earlier than that, but let's just say February 4th is when all the software becomes turned on, and then you could start downloading and using it. All right, that'll be the day it becomes available. And with that, I think that was the last question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Ron, and Ron, you could do whatever you want to wrap things up tonight.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you, Brian. Thank you, Todd and John in the background as well for taking all those questions while I was talking my little mouth off, I guess I would say. Anywho, I want to thank all of you once again for attending our class tonight. It's been a good hour and a half with you guys, and I'm glad you attended. Some great questions. For those of you that are in, welcome. I'll see you all on February 4th. Take a look at the email you're going to get. Sign up for the Facebook group. Get that started. You'll get the software next week on February 4th or a day earlier than that, and we're going to get you started. So regardless, I want to wish everybody a good and healthy 2021. Hopefully it's better than 2020. I'd like to say it can't get worse, but as my father always used to say, don't say that. But let's hope for a good, healthy, and happy 2021 and a good year to start a good income system. So best of success to all of you. Thank you again for attending, and we'll see you next week for the Option Paycheck Module number 1. Take care, everyone.